And this is a Fox News alert. The Associated Press and the Washington Times are reporting tonight that 2 State Department employees have been fired and a third has been disciplined for looking at Senator Barack Obama's passport file. A State Department spokesman says the breaches occurred on January 9th, February 21st, and March 14th, and described the instances as, quote, imprudent curiosity. Obama campaign spokesman Bill Burton has issued a statement tonight that reads, quote, this is an outrageous breach of security and privacy, even from an administration that has shown little regard for either over the last 8 years. Our government's duty is to protect the private information of the American people, not use it for political purposes. This is a serious matter that merits a complete investigation, and we demand who looked at Senator Obama's passport file, for what purpose, and why it took so long for them to reveal the security breach. A State Department conference call about this developing story is expected soon, and we're going to bring you more details when they become available, so please stay tuned to Fox News. And our good friend Susan Estrich is here tonight. She's sitting in for Alan. Good to see you as always, Susan.
Good to see you, Sean. It sounds like these are just contract employees.
That's what they are.
And this is not the administration going out and trying to undermine Barack Obama. Yes. These are some sort of nosy contract employees.
Yeah. And Condoleezza Rice said that they caught it, so they were the ones that discovered it. So.
Oh, well, that one will go away.
All right, and we get to right to our top story tonight, and it is the controversy that just will not go away for Barack Obama. Earlier today, the senator spoke to a Philadelphia radio station and expanded on comments that he made Tuesday about his white grandmother. Take a listen to this.
The point I was making was not that my grandmother harbors any racial animosity. She doesn't. Right. But she is a typical white person who, you know, if she sees somebody on the street that she doesn't know, you know, there's a reaction that's been bred into our experiences that don't go away, and that sometimes come out in the wrong way.
Now, in just a few minutes, we are going to show you the tremendous impact that this story is having on the polls. But we start tonight with former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, author of the New York Times bestseller, again, Real Change. Newt Gingrich is back with us. Mr. Speaker, welcome aboard.
Good to be with you.
All right, just one point on this breaking news tonight. There's a couple of things that we do know that Bill Gertz has put into the Washington Times, and one is that Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice is saying that the security measures that are used to monitor the records of high-profile Americans worked properly and in detecting the breaches, and that these were contract employees. It seems to me Barack Obama is looking for anything to distract from the story of Jeremiah Wright. Your initial thoughts?
Well, no. My first thoughts are to be totally with Senator Obama on this. I think your records are confidential. The government has an absolute obligation to keep them. I suspect these people have broken a law. I don't think it's enough just to fire them. And frankly, if the first breakthrough was back in January, how can they say that the security system worked? Why didn't they do it?
The only thing I might disagree a little bit on, because immediately they make it into a political statement by blaming the administration.
Well, look, of course, but that's the Obama people can do what they want to. As an American citizen, I expect my government to protect the secrecy of documents that I give them, and I believe that that this is probably a very severe penalty. It's not enough just to fire these people. I think that the Justice Department should look into this, not because it's about Senator Obama, but because we have to sustain a very high standard of protecting the right to privacy of Americans.
There you and I agree. And I think everybody's privacy has to be protected. And we've had a number of breaches over the years, so we're in full and complete agreement about that. Now, you just heard the tape that we played. And in this tape, this was an interview with Barack Obama talking about the comments that he made about his grandmother. But she is a typical white person.
Well, I was going to say there's no racial characteristics there, is there? You know, I noticed that Geraldine Ferraro spoke up today and made the point that she was pretty offended at being compared with Reverend Wright. And, you know, let's stipulate. Senator Obama's grandmother loves him. As he himself said, she's done everything she could to help him get a spectacularly good education. She cared for him. She nurtured him. I'm sure she doesn't care what he says. Right. But Geraldine Ferraro made the point that she found it very painful to watch somebody bring their grandmother into this, and that she personally felt very angry that he would compare her to Reverend Wright.
Well,
I think this is a zone where Senator Obama is better off to just pull back. I mean, he's not going to win this argument.
Newt, I pulled a quote tonight from Reverend Jesse Jackson that I remember because I thought it was such an honest and striking quote. I don't know if you remember it. He said, "There is nothing more painful to me than to walk down the street and hear footsteps and start thinking about robbery, then look around and see somebody white and feel relieved." Now, Jesse Jackson is not a typical white person. He is a respected African-American leader who realizes that there's a real problem in the black community with crime. Are you back there, Newt? We lost you for a minute.
No, I'm here. I'm listening carefully. I think you're making a very important point.
Why is Barack stuck? And it seems to me like you that he's stuck on the fact that I'm not afraid of black men because they're black walking down the street, and I'm not a typical white person being afraid. Every woman I know, black, white, green, or yellow, gets a little bit nervous, if she's being honest, when she sees an 18 to 25-year-old black guy dressed in gang attire walking behind her on the street. I'm not afraid of old black men. I'm not afraid of old white men. But yes, that's a stereotype that reflects a problem of disproportionate criminality in a certain community. Is that racism? Is that what we're saying now?
Well, I think this is part of the challenge that Senator Obama is now going to find himself with. I wrote my newsletter today saying we should take him up on his invitation. He has proposed a conversation about race and poverty in America. I think that's you're making a very good case about it. I think Bill Cosby has made some very important points about it. I think Oprah Winfrey, in explaining why she built her girls' school in South Africa and not South Chicago, made we've got to get this out in the open. And I think his speech, in some ways, was much too one-sided. Clever, well executed, but in fact, describing things that happen to fit a stereotype, I think that's wrong. That's not true about America and doesn't allow us to get to an honest conversation. I think what you just said, quoting Jesse Jackson, is much more accurate than what Senator Obama said.
We'll be right back with Newt Gingrich, and we'll get the technology right after the break.